From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, welcome into another edition of The Horse's Mouth. Here, Tommy Max, of course, at my bar, and we are talking some football, baby. We're talking Jags. I'm looking forward to that. Brought to you by our good friends at the Heritage Capital Group and at Farther. Coach Dave Campo is back, and so is Denny Thompson, who's a big part of 1010, and the quarterbacks all around the world. So let's welcome them in. Coach Campo, how are you, my man?
Hi, I'm good, Tom.
Great to see you again, Denny.
Yeah.
Great to have you on the show again, man. How's life?
Great, fantastic.
Okay, state of the Jags. I'm going to go with you, Coach. We're now 8-5. Man, I tell you, just if the last two, if we just got one of them, now this Sunday's game is for first place in the AFC, and not the case anymore. But, man, what is your thoughts on the team in general?
Well, first of all, I think that the expectations were so high, and when you look back on last year, and I've mentioned this a number of times on the radio stuff that I do, you know, they were 9-8 last year. You could say whatever you want. That's an average football team. Now, all of a sudden, everybody had them going to the Super Bowl and doing all those things. Right. We had the same situation in Dallas. When I first went to Dallas, 1-15, 7-9. And that's where I think they were last year. Right. Then we went 11-5 to the playoffs, won a game. Well, they jumped ahead of us a little bit by winning the game.
Fair.
But I think they're a year away. And I think they have to quit thinking about, you know, we're going to the Super Bowl. We need to worry about our football team getting better from week to week and playing well this week and winning this game and then move from there.
You know, I agree with that, but you were out there at camp. It wasn't just the media. It wasn't just the team was saying stuff like, we're going to break records.
Absolutely.
Look at this offense. Look at we're going to throw the ball. Ridley's here. Wait till you see all this stuff, and then it's been okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was part of it, which is interesting with the Doug Peterson team. You know, you'd think, you'd be kind of mature and overlook that. I would imagine they've learned their lesson by now. You got 4 games to get playoff ready. I mean, you can get on a run here.
Yeah, there's a lot of football left.
A lot of football.
A whole lot of football left. The good thing about this Jags team is I feel strongly that if they just get better, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. Like, I don't think that I think they're good enough to where you work on what you do. Yeah. And you don't worry about what Baltimore in this case is doing. Right. And you have to game plan. But just be good at what you do. And that's the thing the last couple of weeks. It's looked a little clunky.
I feel like, look, they have enough talent to be a contender. But they don't have enough talent. Nobody really does. Maybe 1 or 2 teams to just show up and beat the team you're supposed to beat just because you're better than them. They're not that talented. Right. But they are talented if they play their game like you're saying, don't make mistakes, don't leave guys wide open, don't know what you're doing on a route or whatever. If you clean that up, you have enough talent to really be a contender.
This team can play. I've said this from day one as well. They can beat anybody in the league. They can lose to anybody in the league. The league it's very tough to win. You've got to have that edge. Perfect example on what you just said, the defense this past week. They made 3 big mistakes. Otherwise, they played exactly how they've played in every game this year. They turned the ball over. They guys moved the ball on them, but in critical situations, they made plays. But those 3 busts cost us a football game.
I have a question for you, though, Tom. On something like that, you're, what are they, 14 weeks in?
Yeah, 15.
15 weeks in? So that toll that takes, right? It's survival of the fittest, and we think about that physically, but now mentally you have 15 different game plans in your head. You have camp, all that kind of stuff. Like, does this stuff start to merge together and cause more mistakes, or should they be playing more as a unit, more fluid at this point?
They should be playing I mean, you should not have, you can't have mistakes in week 15 or week 14. Not knowing who your coverage is. Like, Devin Lloyd, God bless him, I love him, great athlete, he makes a lot of plays, but he didn't cover the guy he was supposed to twice. Same guy, Njoku, who had the big touchdown. You got to know who you have.
And he's a starter.
He is a starter. You know what they're not doing, I notice? You got to communicate during the game. Like, who do you have? Like, you say to your other backer, hey, you know who you got? I got him. You got him. Hey, if they cross, we're going to switch or whatever. We'll in, out. You don't see a lot of that chatter going on in the defensive secondary.
Well, they used that as an excuse last week with the crowd because they said that we couldn't do that I don't buy any of that.
No, that's
it's
home,
exactly
right?
what you're
that's
talking.
weak.
It's exactly what you were talking
Let's
about.
just say they didn't mean to say that.
Yeah,
because that's,
exactly.
That's not right.
Yeah, but
That's not
what
right.
you're talking about is correct. I mean, the game is pretty intricate now with all the motion and all the shifts and all that kind of stuff offensively. Defensive guys better know exactly what the other guy's doing, and everybody works together.
And offensive guys too, knowing like exactly what you're doing on every. Here's the deal: as we all know, one mess up costs you the game, and that costs you a playoff spot, or you're in the playoffs and it costs you the play, and then you're done.
Yep.
And it's just one, and it's got to be that. I know it's easier said than done, and you are tired, and you're worn down and all this stuff. But you know what? That's your job.
Yep.
Know what you're doing. And I will say, and I'm not giving them any defense, but because of the lack of time they're allowed in the building, the lack of time the coaches can actually sit with them and do some things, you got to do more on your own as a player today than probably ever.
Yep.
Right? Because they don't force you, hey, we're going to go watch film for an hour and a half. You got to sit here and watch, right? Like, maybe we can't do that. Maybe it's 30 minutes. Hey, guys, make sure you watch this at home. I don't know if they're doing it, but you have to do it.
So when you say they're a year away, is that the kind of stuff? Like, they're a young team. Tom, what you're talking about is that's veteran moves, right? Like, it's
Okay. And you know what? The young team comes up every year, and it does bother me, not from you saying it, but that is but I love what Doug's just said. He's like, hey, we're not young anymore. We're 14 weeks in.
Right.
And I love that mentality because he's putting the pressure on him, saying, hey, there's no young for you. You've been playing. You should know. We know this on defense. If someone's left wide open, somebody messed up.
Well, it's
Nobody should ever be wide open, ever.
It's the same with a running play. If you see a big run, somebody wasn't in the right spot because it doesn't happen. Yep. Those are the kind of things that really, it just drives you crazy.
I think it comes down to, and the coach has to deliver. Like, what do you guys want? Like, you want a championship?
Yeah.
Well, this is what it takes. It doesn't take showing up, at practice, goofing around, not really going full speed, not really studying the plays, yada, 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 right? It takes dedication, commitment, sacrifice, and guess what? After we're done, you're going to have the biggest party you'll ever see in your entire life.
Well, this is what you asked
Easier
for,
said
right?
than done.
But this is where it gets fun for you guys. I mean, for players. Like, you go through this 10-month period, even early in the season, where it's like you're just trying to play meaningful football in December.
Right.
And there's very few people that get to do that. And they get to do that. So, for me, I think if I was Doug Peterson, I would just wipe the slate clean and go, look, we would have taken this to start the season.
Right.
We just got to finish this thing out here.
Let's finish, right? And you've got, like you said, plenty of football left.
And along those same lines, you look at, the knock on Kyler Murray at Arizona was he wasn't watching any film. Well, Ridley.
Madden coach.
Yeah. Well, Ridley.
That's the way to get ready.
Yeah.
Ridley needs to, do some of that because he's making some mistakes and it shouldn't be happening this far into the season.
Well, I'll tell you, two routes I love him on. The slant, he's getting really good at, and they need to throw it to him more. And that 12-yard, 15-yard out, nobody can stop him.
Right.
So do that. Maybe go deep.
Have him do that.
Maybe go deep a couple of times. Let me ask you this as we wrap up. And I know you have to deal with quarterbacks, but it's not specifically for them. But how do you wipe that slate? Like, how do you have look? Last 2 weeks not good. As a team, we'll just take it as a team, not individual. How do you wipe it clean and say, hey man, let's start over. We have 4 games to go. It starts this week. How do you make that?
Well, I think it's pretty easy. I think if you're at that level, you've done that your whole life. You've failed and you've gotten back up and kept going, and you don't get to that level without doing that.
Right.
Just period. I don't care how good you are. I think if you're having a hard time doing that, that's probably the deeper question. Is if you can't let last week just be last week and move forward, that's amateur hour, right?
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you should have to teach. I think at this point, you don't win every game at this level. The teams that learn how to do that are successful.
Yep.
I think a lot of it is with the coaching staff as well, not the head coach, because if you walk in with enthusiasm and you're not even really worried about what happened, but here's what we have to do in the next one. It all starts with the individual people in the building have to have that energy,
Absolutely.
or whatever it is.
But it's true. You can't do anything about it.
No,
you
it's
literally
over.
Can't do anything about it.
Yep,
It's not worth worrying
keep
about.
moving. It's time.
Okay, yes
it's
and no on both. Do they win Sunday and do they go to the playoffs? Go.
Well, first of all, I think this is going to be a tough one. If I said, can we win the game?
Yeah, of course
the
we
answer
can.
would be yes.
Right.
Will we win the game? I think they're going to have to play better than they have. Are they going to go to the playoffs? I believe so.
I do too.
Sometimes, unfortunately, their feelings have to fight through some of this stuff.
I'm yes and yes. I think they're getting ready to hit a little run, get healthier. That's the main thing. They haven't played their best football. They haven't put a whole game together. They're still 8-5. There's going to be some confidence from that, right?
Get hot now, man.
Get one good game. You guys had it. You guys had it when you played. Every team tried it. Last year they had it with the Cowboys. Get that one game.
That's right.
Go forward.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man.
Good to see you, Den.
Joel. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. It's our last show for the year, man.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
We'll have to. We'll figure something out talking about the Jags as we get further along. All right. That'll do it for us. Make sure you check them out at dailynewsnetwork.com. You see this conversation and many others. Until next time, stay safe, be cool. We'll see you right here on the Horse's Mouth. Cheers.
The team at Heritage Capital Group is special because it's a collection of people across the spectrum.
We have people who have been in the shoes of owners that are looking to buy and sell, and professionals that have executed transactions helping buy and sell companies for decades.
I think when you talk to us, see what our experience is, see what our skills are, see the reach that we have, you'll be very happy with the recommendation.